Greetings from the backyard of our nation's capital, and a very happy Memorial Day to you. A day when we Americans honor the ultimate sacrifice made by so many brave veterans by slashing prices on used cars and floating drunk down a river in red, white, and blue inner tubes. But not this year, my friends, not us. We've eschewed the debauchery in favor of the beautiful Filene Center here at Wolf Trap. If you want to do the howling thing, now's the time. Yes. It really does sound like booze. It really does. It's not booze, Chris. It's not booze. It's not. I imagine you can tell, citizens of the airwaves, that we're broadcasting from what I think is the most acoustically pleasing outdoor amphitheater in the world. Fitting, I think, that said amphitheater is in Vienna. No. Not that Vienna, sillies. This Vienna. She walked through the corn leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in a hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox on the run. Vienna, Virginia. Just outside of Washington, D.C., which we all know as a government town, but which we can't forget is also an historic bluegrass town. And who better to tell us about it than the pride of Fredericksburg, Virginia, the crown prince of the D.C. bluegrass scene, live from here's very own Chris Eldridge. Mr. Chris Eldridge's father is the great Ben Eldridge, mathematician by day, banjoist of the Seldom Scene by night. He's like a bluegrass superhero. Critter, we just played Fox on the Run by the Country Gentlemen, who you informed me are a D.C. band. I could have sworn they were from the Deep South.
Well, the Country Gentlemen came together in Washington, D.C., but to me, the thing that was so amazing about them is they cross-pollinated the sound of banjos and mandolins, but played contemporary songs, and that was a new thing.
Right. Amen. And around that same time, another D.C. hero, Hazel Dickens, was writing songs that have become standard repertoire for musicians of the bluegrass persuasion, like Miss Sarah Jarosz here. 1, 2,
3. I feel the shadows now upon me, and the angels beckon me. Before I go, dear sisters and brothers, won't you come and sing for me? Sing those hymns we sang together, that plain little church with the benches all worn. How dear to my heart, how precious the moment we stood shaking hands and singing her song.
That's Hazel Dickens' Won't You Come and Sing For Me. Sarah, how did you know that song?
Well, I learned it from the great Colorado band Hot Rise when I was a kid. So yeah, Hazel's music spread far and wide, but it started here in the Baltimore, D.C. area.
And the whole time, the local community was getting a steady diet of all manner of contemporary and traditional bluegrass via our friends at WAMU. Critter, you must have listened to some WAMU in your time.
I listened to a lot of WAMU because this is crazy, but when I was a kid, WAMU would literally play bluegrass from 3 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, which is incredible considering that they were one of the major radio stations in this area. It's insane. And I think a lot of people around here were turned on to bluegrass because of that.
Which brings us back around to the Seldom Scene, who presided over all of this via a weekly gig at the immortal Birchmere in Alexandria. Everyone gets their start at the Birchmere. Critter, tell us a little bit about your father's band, the Seldom Scene.
All right, well, I'm clearly biased about this, but I think most people would agree that the Seldom Scene is pretty much synonymous with bluegrass here in D.C. You know, as a band, they were as responsible as any in America for bringing bluegrass into the mainstream. And their influence and their success was crazy because they didn't set out to do it for a full-time thing. They all had normal day jobs. My dad was a mathematician, John Starling was a doctor, Tom Gray was a cartographer down at National Geographic, Mike Aldridge was an artist. They all had these, John Duffy, let's not forget John Duffy. They all had these incredible gigs, and they did this for fun. And so it was amazing that when they started playing for fun, people started showing up, and then they started showing up in droves. And
in limos,
and
like via the White House.
Yeah, there were crazy people who would show, because they played every week at the Birchmere, and you'd have people like Emmylou Harris or Linda Ronstadt or John Prine were kind of regulars. You'd have Sandra Day O'Connor and crazy senators. You'd have the auto mechanic
Carter,
from...
right? Didn't Jimmy Carter invite them to the White House?
Yeah, Jimmy Carter was a fan, and he had them come to the White House and play a few times. For the congressional picnic, which interestingly John Duffy skipped because he had a softball game that day, but he showed up as soon as the band was done playing and ate all the free food, and then left.
Yes! Yes! Well, in the spirit of that, I think you have a song for us from the Seldom Scene.
Yes, I do. This is called Through the Bottom of the Glass. She's off misbehaving with him, not with me. A pessimistic tomorrow is all that I see. Or I can live with my version of the world going past. Yeah, the hard times we've had, they don't look so bad through the bottom of the glass. So turn up the jukebox, dim down the lights. I don't need no vision 2020 tonight. So I won't see her, even if they walk past. Through the jokes and the tears, through the smoke and the beers, through the bottom of the glass. Jokes and the tears, through the smoke and the beers, through the bottom of the glass.
Thank you for that, Critter. That's Chris Eldridge, friends. Fredericksburg, Virginia's favorite son, right after whoever owns Carl's Custard, presumably someone named Carl. Critter, it's really good to see you. It's very nice to see all 3,000 of you in this amphitheater with us tonight. I haven't seen many other humans lately. My wife and son were out in Los Angeles all week for her work. Usually I'm the one traveling. This was the first time I'd been alone in my own home for years. It got lonesome. And when I get lonesome, I check Twitter. And then I get really lonesome. Is there a thing that brings us less joy to which we devote more time? I think not. Which brings us to this week's song. My temporary bachelorhood helped me rediscover my preferred antidote to social media-engendered despair. Here's the recipe. A great record on a great stereo, a cocktail, and airplane mode.